Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Tiny Epic Galaxies. Tiny Epic Galaxies is another game in the Tiny Epic series. I did the video for Tiny Epic Quest a couple of weeks back. It plays from 1 to 4 players, just like every other one of the Tiny Epic games, and it involves having cards placed around the table as a tableau, and you play the game from there. Just like the rest of the Tiny Epic games, it plays very differently to all of the others, while they feel really similar in their makeup, because you've got these cards that are in place of the board, I guess, and you've got really little pieces that you manipulate around the cards. So physically it feels the same as all of the Tiny Epic games. Mechanically it is a very different game, as are all of the Tiny Epic series so far. In this game you are trying to build up your galaxy, or the galaxy that you own. So thematically it's probably the closest to Race for the Galaxy or Roll for the Galaxy, in that you're trying to colonize planets, and you take the planets and then you've got a special skill that you can use if you wish. Once again, this game relies heavily on dice rolling, and so on your turn you'll roll the dice, and whatever's on the sides that are showing tells you what you can do. So you might be able to move a ship from a planet to another planet, or from your location to a planet, and when you move to a planet, you have two choices, and the choice is take skill or try to colonize it, and you might take a little bit of time to colonize it. There are two different types of colonizing things, and when you roll them, you get to move further around the colony track. When you get to the end of that track, you've colonized the planet, it goes under your board, and you're able to use that skill at the end, and you're playing for points, so whoever gets to... the game ends when someone gets to a certain point value, and then we finish the round, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game is obviously the winner. The game also has a mechanism in it that I'm seeing turn up a lot more. I see it in the Vita Lasada games a fair bit, and it's called that follow action. So you might remember that from the Gallerist, there was a follow action. It doesn't play exactly the same as the Gallerist follow action, but in this one, Tiny Epic Galaxies, what you're able to do is spend a resource power. There's power, and there's this other resource that's called culture. So I always forget the name of it, so I may drop the name of it during the videos, and if I do, I apologise. I'll probably put a little note on that. But culture, so you spend a culture to be able to use one of the dice that one of the other players has rolled. And that's a really cool little mechanism, and what it does, what it actually does is keeps every player at the table involved for the entire time. So you don't want to go, okay, I've had my turn, and then look down at your phone and be disengaged on your phone while the other 3 players are having their turn, because they might roll something that you want to do, or that you're able to do by just spending that one culture. So it's always worth keeping your eye on exactly what's happening at the table. I think that's a really brilliant mechanism to bring into games, especially in this modern era, where we tend to find that people, once they're not actively involved at this point in time, they'll turn to their phones and start texting, they'll switch off. And what happens when people play that way, they're not 100% in the game, and so their turns aren't quite as thought through as they possibly could be, or they end up taking way too long to think about because they haven't used the time to think about what they're going to do during other people's turns. That's a little gripe I've had, but I'm going to leave that there and move forward. So, but that mechanism allows you to do extra stuff, and it really mitigates the lack of dice roll that you might have. So it uses a reroll rule, kind of like Yahtzee. So you roll once, you're allowed to roll again. If you want to roll another time, then you've got to start spending resource to do those extra rolls. And you can roll as much as you want, as long as you've got the resource for it. There's also the ability to sacrifice 2 dice to put one of the other dice onto whatever side you wish. Within your own board, I'll go into all that in the game explanation a bit more, but there's these 3 tracks. So you have the ability to move your marker up one of the tracks, and as you move further up that track, that will release more spaceships or more dice to you. And so it's worth doing that. While it feels like an almost nothing move, it's actually doing a lot for future moves. So there's those little things that you get to think about as you're playing the game. If you like any of the Tiny Epic games, this one's a really good one. I think in terms of the goodness of the Tiny Epic series, my experience is that the the further into the game series you go, the better they get. Not that the first ones weren't great, but they feel like they've really worked out exactly what they're doing and exactly how to play. Or it might just be that they've got a more of an epic feel to them than they used to. But that's just my opinion only. Others may prefer Tiny Epic Defenders to Tiny Epic Galaxy. I really like this one. I think it's a good game, and it's worth the play. It gets to the table and plays fairly quickly. It's only about a half hour of playtime, so yeah, it's a really worthwhile one to get your head around, and to try and bring to the table as much as you can. Within this one, there is a little bit of to and fro between each player, because you're able to all be on the same track. So whoever gets to the end of that track first is going to gain the colony that I was talking about before. So what we've got is you're suddenly looking at it and going, I think I can get to the end of that track before that player. And there's some skills that are a little bit attacky on other players. So there's a touch more attackiness in this game than I usually like. And it's okay. I tend to, when I play against my wife, I tend to just avoid going after those planets as much as I can. Sometimes I just take them because I need the points. But usually I'll avoid using those skills or going after those planets if at all possible. There's always choices. There's always choices. There's two choices when you go to a planet. There's choosing which dice you want to use. There's enough choice in this to make it not a boring dice chucking game. So look, I'm going to leave this one here. I hope that my videos help you get Tiny Epic Galaxies to the table. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you've got any games that you wish to be gamesplained, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to see what games I've been playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.